Hi, my name is Hannah McKnight, and I'm partnering with On, the premier trans-feminine brand who designs beautiful clothes for gender non-conforming people like myself, and probably you. And we are here with our next video in our Help Me Hannah series. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that I get asked a lot, such as, how do I start? I don't feel that I am my gender that I was assigned to at birth. And I want to present myself, I want to express myself. I don't know where to begin, I don't know what's right for me. It all seems very overwhelming, and yes, it can seem very overwhelming. So this video is going to be talking about how we can start introducing, maybe clothes that were designed for another gender. If we look at gender in the binary sense, of course, that looks good on you, that you feel comfortable in, that you can kind of ease your way into. In our community, we have a lot of different terminology. We have terms like boy mode and girl mode and cross-dressing and genderqueer and non-binary. For the purpose of this video, we're going to use the all-encompassing umbrella term of gender non-conforming. And I think that's going to mean a few different things to a lot of different people. But what gender non-conforming means is that, well, at least to me, is that I'm going to wear clothes or makeup or shoes that people who were assigned my gender when I was born don't typically wear. So I have been wearing clothes that don't belong to me for a very long time. And over the years, I've learned what I like, what doesn't work for me, and how to feel comfortable in clothes that you can usually find in a different part of the department store than you usually can find. All right, so we are going to use some visual aids. And what is this? This is a dress. So some department stores call this a woman's dress, as if there is another section for men's dresses, but that always makes me laugh when I go shopping. But for some people, this is just a piece of fabric, and it's just something to cover yourself so you don't get arrested when you go outside. But for some people, it is the ultimate symbol of their gender identity. And I believe that clothes can mean as much to you as you would like them to mean. It can mean as little to you. You can wear clothes that are designed for you. You can wear clothes that aren't designed for you. Essentially, you can wear whatever you want. And again, that does contribute to the whole, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. How do I start? Where do I begin? What's right for me? How do I do this? Probably the number one question that I'm asked on my website, which is hannahmcknight.org, is how do I do this? Where do I start? I want to wear girl clothes. I want to wear clothes that aren't designed for me. I want to find clothes that are beautiful, but will fit my body. Where do I start? And the simple answer, which is not very helpful, is you start wherever you want. You start with what you feel comfortable with. When I was younger, I used to work at a bookstore, and people would come in and they would say, I want to start to read. Where do I begin? And I would say, well, we've got 1 million books. Get started. And of course, that again wasn't very helpful, because with books you can read, a cookbook. You can read a owner's manual for a 1986 Honda Civic. You could read Jane Austen. You could read Stephen King. You could read a magazine. You will probably read a few books before you find out what you enjoy, the writers that you enjoy, the genre that you enjoy. Clothes are not going to be much different. So we're going to start with talking about one of the more intimate things that you can wear. And the reason why we're going to jump right into that is that for a lot of us, when we start wearing clothes for, that we're not, quote unquote, supposed to wear, we're going to start off in the privacy of our home. And I don't know about you, but what first attracted me to certain clothes was lingerie. Really beautiful clothes that I could wear underneath, that I could wear to sleep in, clothes that were so much different than clothes that I was finding in my dresser. So we're going to start with this. And again, we usually start off with trying on things in the privacy of our own home. And I think with intimate apparel, with intimate clothes, that is a great place for us to start. Because this side of us can be very personal, can be very intimate, can be very private, can be very much a secret. And I think, lingerie is a great metaphor for that. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about lingerie. We're going to talk about intimate apparel. So we're just going to dive right into what I feel is like the most feminine thing that you can wear. It's also the most intimate thing that you can wear. And I'm not talking about intimacy like being intimate with somebody else. It's more about being intimate with yourself. Something private, something secret, something that only you know, something that makes you feel beautiful, something that makes you feel special, something that is very personal. And gender identity is something that's very personal. And I think it's wonderful when you wear something that means something really special to you. So for a lot of us, we start off by exploring gender non-conforming style and presentation with, to be honest with you, underwear, with panties. So I think panties are one of the most feminine things that you can wear. I love panties. I have hundreds of pairs of panties, and it's just something that I wear all the time, regardless of what gender I am presenting as. It's something that is something personal, something intimate, something that only I'm aware of what I'm wearing, something that represents, my gender identity, something that keeps me connected to who I am. So it's just a really personal, intimate thing. It doesn't have to be sexy. It doesn't have to be sexual. Of course, you can totally have panties that are sexy, but it's really up to you, to what you feel comfortable with. When we expand other types of lingerie, we can look into a bra, corset, maybe a cute cami. Right now I am wearing a nightgown, and a nightgown is something that, again, is something very intimate, something very personal, something that I love slipping into right before I fall asleep. It's lovely waking up in one. It's an immediate reminder of who I am and what I like to wear, and how I feel about myself. This is in my opinion, some of the bravest things that you can wear, because it's usually some of the first things that we wear. When we get used to it, how does it make us feel? Does it feel right? Does it feel uncomfortable? Luckily, there are a lot more designers out there, on-fem included, who are making underwear and intimate material and intimate apparel that is perfect for people who have the same type of anatomy as I do. But it also can be very scary. Since it's usually some of the first things that we wear, it's some of the things that we are most associated with in terms of getting caught, I suppose. For a lot of us who are still very much in the closet, they're not ready to share this side of themselves for the rest of the world. We don't want it to be something that we are outed on without our consent, if you will. So when I first started wearing panties and presenting, as a male, I was terrified that the little lacy waistband would be visible underneath my jeans, or I was terrified that my bra strap would be visible through the shirt I was wearing. I was terrified that somebody would find, my underwear in my underwear drawer. Of course, I don't know why anybody else would be digging through my underwear drawer, but when we start off, we start feeling paranoid. We start to feel afraid. Paranoia, in a way, does keep us alive. It does keep us safe. So we do look at all these different things that could potentially happen. Again, it helps protect us. It helps protect our gender identity from a world that we are not really sure will really understand, accept, or embrace us. So earlier in the video, we discussed different types of terminology, whether it's gender non-conforming or non-binary or girl mode or boy mode. The term that I learned quite a few years ago was underdressing, which essentially means that, you are presenting masculine, but you are wearing, pretty underwear, pretty lingerie underneath your boy clothes. Another term that I learned a few years after that was 50-50 mode. 50-50 mode is, if we look at clothes, in a binary sense, if we really genderize clothes, and again, some of us do, some of us don't. A dress is either a dress, or it's a piece of fabric, or it means something more. It really comes down to how you feel about it. But if we look at clothes as either being designed for boys or for girls, 50-50 mode is when we are presenting masculine, but we are wearing girl clothes, and it's usually wearing girl clothes that kind of look like boy clothes. It could be femme jeans. It could be a top just like the one I'm wearing right now. I know what I'm wearing. I know what kind of body it was designed for. I know what it means to me. but to the casual passerby, they're probably not going to give a second look as to what it is. Again, it's a way that I'm testing the waters. You know, when I started to explore and really embrace this side of me, I had to ease myself into it. I wasn't just going to dive into the deep end. I wasn't going to just cannonball into the pool until I was ready to do so. And 50-50 mode was a wonderful way for me to ease into that, to feel a little bit more comfortable. And it was also a way for me to really realize that people aren't paying as much attention to me as I think that they do, as I'm afraid that they do. And I think that you're going to feel the same way. You know, when I started to embrace my gender identity and, you know, come to terms and accept the fact that I indeed am gender non-conforming, it really opened up a lot of possibilities. And obviously it opened up the possibility of wearing clothes that I've always wanted to wear, really just kind of embracing who I am. And the size of my wardrobe just exploded and it got so much more interesting. But it also came down to being able to, you know, embrace different types of fabrics and different types of textures. I like how things feel. And this is another outfit that I like to wear in 50-50 mode. Again, a nice green sweater. It's very comfortable, except for today because it's like 90 degrees here in Minneapolis. And yes, it does get hot in Minneapolis. But I also have this really cute pair of leather leggings. This is a very comfortable outfit. I love wearing it. And it really embraces how I feel about myself. It's feminine, but it's something that I feel I can wear when I'm presenting as masculine. So I would love to know a little bit more about what you like to wear, you know, where you are at this point of your journey. Feel free to comment below, and I hope that you like and subscribe to this series of videos. The next video that we're going to be doing is that we are going to be taking the next step into presenting en femme, and I'm really excited to show you some of those outfits.